I often hear myself saying, "See you later," after those words, but my husband never came home. He vanished without a trace, and despite the police's best efforts, he was nowhere to be found. He just ran away, didn't he? My sister's voice haunted me with those chilling words. Maybe he got tired of you. My name is Ella, and I was born a twin. My sister, Charlotte, and I share the same face. But our parents have always favored her. "Dad, Mom, please give me some money. I'm going out with friends," I would plead. "Have you already spent your allowance for this month?" my father would ask. "Yes, I have," I'd reply, hoping for their generosity. "Please, Dad, I promise I'll do well on the final exam," I'd add. "All right then, here you are," he would say, handing me the money. "Yay, I love you, Daddy," I'd exclaim, grateful but always feeling the sting of favoritism. Charlotte, with her cutting charm, always received the best of everything. Our parents spoiled her endlessly. Meanwhile, I, quiet and reserved, was often neglected. "Dad, I need to buy a reference book for my science homework," I ask. "I already gave you this month's allowance," he'd respond. "Use it wisely." "Oh, okay," I'd reply, resigned. Charlotte's selfishness grew, and she began to want everything I had. "Hey, Ella, I like your outfit. I want it," she'd say. "What? No, please don't open my drawer. I bought this with my own allowance," I'd protest. "I'm sure it looks better on me," she'd insist. "I'll take it." "Hey, give it back to me," I'd demand. "Mom, Ella's being really mean," she'd complain. "Ella, be nice to your sister." "Just give it to her," my mother would say, ignoring my distress. "But why?" I'd ask, feeling the injustice acutely. My parents always listened to Charlotte and disregarded my feelings. Whatever she wanted, she got. My possessions were taken from me at her whim. I endured it all with quiet patience. Fortunately, after graduating from college, I landed a job far from my parents' home. I rarely had to see them or Charlotte anymore, which brought me some relief. However, growing up in her shadow had left me lacking in self-confidence, and I had never engaged in anything that brought me joy. My life became a series of diligent, steady workdays. It was during this time that I met someone who would become my future husband, Daniel. We often met for business discussions, and he'd hand me documents with a polite, "Here you are. Please review the document." "Thank you," I'd reply, trying to focus on the task at hand. "Wow, you've gone into such detail. I hope it will be useful," Daniel said with a warm smile. "Of course, I'm always grateful to you," I replied. "If you'd like, would you be interested in having dinner together sometime?" "Dinner? Oh, sure," he responded, his eyes lighting up. I had never had a dinner alone with a man before, so I assumed it would be just another business meal. But as time went on, Daniel began inviting me out more frequently. One day, during a quiet dinner, he looked at me with a serious expression and said, "Ella, would you be my girlfriend?" "Me? Are you serious?" I asked, my voice trembling with disbelief. "Yes," he said, taking my hand. "You're a beautiful person, inside and out. I love everything about you." His words took me by surprise, and I couldn't believe someone felt that way about me. A wave of joy filled my heart, and I found myself saying, "I'm so happy." "Thank you, Daniel." My eyes welled up with tears as we officially started dating. Daniel was a hardworking and sincere man. He worked for a major company and earned well, but he wasn't a spender. He lived a solid, grounded life. After a few years of dating, we decided to get married. I became a full-time housewife and moved in with his family. "Mom, Dad, this is Ella," Daniel introduced me. "She's part of the family now." "Welcome, Ella," his parents said warmly. "I hear you're a hard-working girl," Daniel's parents said warmly. "We're going to be family now, so don't be shy, okay?" "Okay, thank you for your warm welcome," I replied, feeling relieved that they greeted me with smiles. They ran a small business and had a spacious home. My in-laws and I quickly developed a great relationship built on mutual respect. "Why don't we all go out for dinner today?" Daniel suggested. "Anything you want to eat, Ella," his mother added. "Really? I feel like Italian would be good," I said, excited. "Italian sounds great," his father agreed. "I heard there's a new restaurant that just opened across the street." "Yeah, let's go there then," Daniel said. "Ella, order whatever you like," his mother encouraged. My in-laws were incredibly friendly and always made me feel happy. As we settled into our meal, Daniel's mother handed me a necklace. "Ella, "This necklace would look lovely on you. I used to wear it, but I'd like you to have it," she said. "Wow, it's beautiful," I said, touched by the gesture. "Thank you so much. I'm glad you like it. You're my daughter now," she replied with a warm smile. I felt truly blessed to be part of a family with such kind and loving people. It was a world away from the conflicts and neglect I'd experienced with my own family. I had finally found a home where I felt safe and a family that truly appreciated me. I believed this happiness would last forever. But then the unthinkable happened. "Has Daniel come home yet?" I asked, my voice trembling with worry. "No," my mother-in-law replied. "I've tried to contact him, but he hasn't returned any of my calls or messages." "It's too late now," I said, my heart sinking. "Do you have any idea where he might be?" "No, I can't think of anything," she said, looking equally troubled. "I'll check with his friends." One day, out of the blue, Daniel vanished. He left for work and never came back. I reached out to his coworkers and friends, but no one had any information about his whereabouts. I reported his disappearance to the police, but they had no leads. I was terrified that something terrible had happened to him, perhaps an accident. The sudden and unexplained absence of my husband shattered our peaceful, happy life. I was overwhelmed with anxiety and despair, not knowing what to do next. All I could do was wait, day after day. My parents-in-law sat on the sofa, their faces etched with worry and tears. "Where could he have gone?" they lamented. "I can't believe he's just disappeared like this." Nobody knew how or why this had happened. I couldn't shake the feeling that maybe I had done something to hurt him, even if I didn't realize it. The thought that it might be my fault gnawed at me. Seeing my own sadness reflected in their eyes, I began to question if I had somehow brought this upon myself. If it was my fault, would there still be a place for me in this house? We had come so far as a family, and I truly believed this was where I belonged. Now everything felt uncertain and fragile. Overwhelmed with despair, I secluded myself in my room and cried. Just as I was drowning in my sorrow, my cell phone rang. I hoped it might be my husband, but when I checked the screen, it was an incoming call from my sister, Charlotte. Charlotte called occasionally, mostly to brag about her life and make me feel small. I usually brush off her calls, but this time, in my distress, I decided to confide in her. "Hey, what's up, Ella?" she asked, sounding more curious than concerned. "Not good, actually," I replied, struggling to keep my voice steady. "My husband disappeared." "What?" Charlotte's tone shifted to surprise. "The boring husband I met at the wedding. He disappeared. Did you report it to the police?" "Yes, but they haven't been able to find him," I said, my voice breaking. "Oh, really? He just ran away, did he?" she said with a dismissive laugh. "Maybe he got tired of you." Her laughter felt like a cruel mockery. I found myself blaming myself more than I was angered by her insensitivity. "I don't know what I might have done to make him leave," I admitted, my voice heavy with guilt. "I keep wondering if it's my fault." Tormented by this guilt, I found it hard to eat or function normally. The thought of leaving the house crossed my mind, but I felt trapped in my own self-blame. One sleepless night, I went downstairs to get some water. As I passed the living room, I overheard my in-laws talking. "What is he thinking?" My mother-in-law's voice was filled with concern. "This isn't right. It's too hard." "But I'm sure Ella is having the hardest time," Daniel's father added sympathetically. Their words, though comforting, did little to ease the torment I felt inside. I was left to grapple with my own guilt and uncertainty, feeling more alone than ever. I couldn't believe the depth of her suffering after his disappearance. It broke my heart to see her going through so much. It didn't make sense for him to leave behind such a devoted wife. The only logical explanation seemed to be that he had been involved in some kind of accident or something similar. "Yeah, I can't think of any reason why he would just run away," my father-in-law said, his voice filled with concern. Hearing their conversation from the stairs, I couldn't hold back my tears. Their genuine concern and kindness overwhelmed me, and I sobbed uncontrollably. They cared deeply about me, and their support made me realize how much I had been struggling. I shouldn't let myself be lost forever, I thought. My in-laws were also grieving the loss of their son, and I needed to be strong for them, as a daughter should. I resolved to pull myself together and support them through this difficult time. "I made your favorite cherry pie today," I said, trying to lift the mood. "Let's enjoy it together." "Wow, Ella, this smells wonderful," my mother-in-law remarked. "If you were to get sick, I'm sure Daniel would be heartbroken, so cheer up. Yes, you're right, my father-in-law agreed. Thank you, Ella. Meanwhile, I continued to search for Daniel, reaching out to his colleagues and friends in hopes of finding any clue about his whereabouts. Despite my efforts, there were no leads. Then, I discovered that $100,000 was missing from Daniel's bank account. I reported this to the police, but progress was slow. Without a clear case, the authorities began to treat his disappearance as a possible runaway case. I'm home. Sorry I'm late, I said as I walked in. Hi, Ella. Hi, I replied. Anything new? No, nothing much. I guess the police wouldn't be looking for a missing adult anymore, she said. Anyway, I bought some cupcakes on the way home. I remember you like them. Oh, thank you, Ella, I said, smiling as I took the cupcakes. They looked delicious. Though my in-laws still looked a bit anxious, they were starting to regain their strength. We continued to support each other and grow closer, forming a true family bond. Then, 7 years after my husband's disappearance, my father-in-law passed away. He had been hospitalized for a while due to an illness. But despite the treatment, he passed away peacefully in his hospital bed. After the funeral, my mother-in-law and I were in tears, trying to comfort each other. Suddenly, we heard a familiar voice. Hello, I'm back, the voice said. I looked up in shock. Hey, Ella, it's been a while. What? I gasped, recognizing the voice. Dario? To my astonishment, my husband appeared at my father-in-law's funeral, and he was with my sister Charlotte. What's going on? I demanded, stunned and confused. Well, actually, my husband began. I was living with your sister at my parents' place for the past 7 years. Charlotte and I were together, and she got pregnant. It seems my parents were involved too, helping me disappear. I heard that my dad passed away, my husband said bluntly as he walked in. I'm here to claim my inheritance. His complete lack of hesitation or remorse about his motives was shocking. Are you out of your mind? I exclaimed. How selfish can you be? My mother-in-law and I were trembling with anger. You have no idea what it was like for my father-in-law to die under such circumstances. He passed away burdened with worry, all because of you. I initially devoted myself to you, Ella, my husband continued, but no matter what you did, you were always too lame. It was no fun to be with you. Yeah, right, he added dismissively. Ella, you were always super boring compared to Charlotte. When I met her, my life changed. She was perfect for me. I felt truly happy with her. Unlike with you, I was able to have a child with Charlotte right away. He tried to justify his infidelity with excuses that felt too selfish to bear. My sister, who had never worked a day in her life, had discovered at our wedding that my husband had a good job and a stable income. She had approached him behind my back. You thought you could just take my things like you used to, my husband sneered. Some good money this time, right? Well, it's clear you were only after what you could get. Whatever, he said, shrugging off the conversation. As the son, I have a right to inherit my dad's money. I'm entitled to it. Exactly, Charlotte chimed in. He's got a right to what he's entitled to. So hand over the money. It seemed that my sister had brainwashed him into coming to his parents' house to demand the inheritance, showing a complete disregard for the situation and the people involved. I can't believe he's become such a pathetic person, I thought, feeling a surge of anger. That's enough. It's not going to happen, my mother-in-law said, her voice shaking with fury. No matter how many times you ask, you're not getting the money. Why not? It's my money. My husband protested, his frustration evident. I don't care how many times you ask. Go home, my mother-in-law insisted. I'll be back, my husband said, determined. Prepare my money for me. My mother-in-law was so enraged that she chased them out, but they started following us around, demanding what they believed they were owed. Hey, just give it to me already, my husband shouted. I have to pay back the money, my sister added. I don't care. It's my father's money, and I'm the one who's supposed to get it, my husband argued. Yes, you have to give it to us, my sister chimed in. Why should I give you anything? Now leave, I said firmly. Despite my repeated requests for them to leave, they refused to back down. Just as I was about to confront them again, my mother-in-law emerged from the back. Are they here again? She asked, her expression one of disgust. Yes, I replied. My sister, clearly infuriated, lashed out at my mother-in-law. Your son is begging for money, and you're just acting like this. My son is dead, my mother-in-law retorted. Huh? My husband and sister were momentarily speechless at the firmness in my mother-in-law's voice. There's a grave in the backyard, she declared. What? No way, they exclaimed, rushing to the small cemetery in the woods behind the house. The gravestone there was indeed inscribed with my husband's name. 7 years had passed since his disappearance was officially declared, and he had been legally declared dead, allowing my mother-in-law to inherit the entire fortune. As they stood in shock, my ex-husband and sister were frantic. Hey, I'm alive. You see me right here. Yes, he's alive, my ex-husband screamed in panic. So he should get the money, right? Well, you're quite lucky, I said coldly. I'm not demanding any alimony from you for cheating because as far as the legal system is concerned, you're already dead. What alimony? I snapped. If you keep following me around asking for money, I will handle this more harshly. Hey, wait, my ex-husband protested. I'm your son. It's my money, and this isn't fair. My son is dead, my mother-in-law replied firmly. You're his mother. How can you be so heartless? Look at him standing right here, he cried. If my ex-husband were still alive, I'd be suing him for alimony. After betraying his family, he'd have a lot. Well, too bad he isn't alive, I said coldly, so I'm not giving you any money. Now leave. My ex-husband and sister tried to play the victims, but we rejected them firmly. They left, disgruntled by the mention of alimony. Soon after, my parents came to me, tears in their eyes, claiming they were in dire straits. We're in a lot of debt and need your help, they pleaded. We're family, after all. Family? I said, my voice laced with bitterness. You took away my husband and tormented me for years. I'm not giving you any money, not a chance. My parents have been lavishly spending on my sister, leading to their financial ruin. My ex-husband had been living with them, relying on what he thought were ample savings. Meanwhile, my sister's reckless spending and the cost of raising a child drained their resources quickly. What are you going to do? They asked, desperation in their voices. I'll get a job, my ex-husband said, but without a proper family register, finding employment was nearly impossible. What now? They continued, lamenting their debt. We never expected to have another child. I didn't think I'd get pregnant again either. But it's your responsibility, I said, feeling detached. Do something about it. As I looked at my sister's growing belly and their bleak financial situation, I realized I didn't care about their troubles. My own life was happy and peaceful. With my mother-in-law, who truly cared for me, I began to plan a future of joy. How about Paris? I suggested. Paris? She asked, her eyes lighting up. Yes, it would be wonderful, I said. I've always wanted to visit Europe. You mentioned Buckingham Palace too. Why not take a trip to Europe? Really? That would be a dream come true, she exclaimed. My mother-in-law was the only family who genuinely cared about me, and I was determined to take good care of her. Together, we would continue to support each other and build our own happy family.